you know, if you guys saw my new for 2023 video that I dropped last month in January, by the way, today is Monday, February 13th, 2023. So for the time reference for those of you who are watching. But anyway, if you saw my video, what's new for 2023, you know that whenever you see me in this battle dress uniform, aka BDU, some call fatigues, you know the topic is going to be spiritual warfare. Today's going to be no different. Super Bowl LVII, what was hidden right in front of our faces. The very thing that you missed while being entertained, and you only saw it if your third eye is open. Okay? You only saw this if you have experienced a spiritual awakening and you're able to see through the illusion. We're talking about a few things coming up here on this edition of Maddie's Rap. One, we're going to talk about the game itself. We're going to talk about the lead up to the game. And what I mean by the lead up to the game is what happened in the games before the big game. How these two teams got there. What was the path that the Eagles took to get there, or what was that path like? What was the path like for the Chiefs to get there? And then we're going to talk about some interesting things that I noted in the game. We're going to put special emphasis on the halftime show. And then I'm going to tie it all together for you guys at the end. Because remember, if you've been following me for any significant amount of time, you know that my personal creed is with every what, there's a connected why. So I'm going to point these things out for you. I'm going to point out exactly what went right over the heads of most of the people watching. And then I'm going to show you what the why is that connects to the what, including the halftime show, including Rihanna. And I'm even going to show you the connection again, and I don't know why the Most High has me on this Adam and Eve thing. This is the third time I'm going to be referencing Adam and Eve in a video, but I'm going to show you how this ties back to the beginning. Coming up here on Maddie's Rap. Stick around. Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Maddie's Rap. I'm your host, the world-renowned author and storyteller, Matt D. Talford, author of some incredible books that you have to have in your library. But for time's sake, I'm not going to tell you about those books right now because I want to get right into the material, all right? I'm excited. I'm super excited to share this with you guys. This is a download I got today. I kind of saw some of this last night as I was watching, but the full download hit me this morning, and I'm super excited to share this with you guys. So I'm going to spare the normal introductions. If you're a new or returning subscriber, you guys know I love you all to the moon and back. If this is your first time watching me, thank you for clicking on this video. I hope that by the end, you will like it enough to give it a thumbs up and like me enough to subscribe to the channel. Now, I want to get right into this. Let me get a sip of water because we about to get in, y'all. So, again, you saw the introduction, and I'm sure you're wondering if this is going to be another one of those videos where people get into looking at, different aspects. I don't even know how to even describe that. I mean, you guys have seen the videos. We see them. People talk about sports being fixed all the time, whatever. Do I think that sports is fixed on the highest levels? Yes or no? I actually do. But this isn't what the subject of this video is about. I'd like to use for a thesis today that Super Bowl LVII was an example of lower masculine energy overcoming divine feminine energy. And there were a lot of colors in there that sort of gave the clue to that, all right? So in this video, I'm going to reveal the symbolism of Super Bowl LVII, the entire production, because that's exactly what it was. Anything you're watching on the screen is a production, regardless of what anyone tells you. Unless you're watching a live video And some people might get technical and argue, well, live videos are production too. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Unless you are watching a live video that somebody is live streaming on social media or something like that, you're pretty much watching a planned production. All right? So let me give you the symbolism in this production, and I'm going to take my time with this. I normally say I want it to be a short video. Today, I'm going to take my time with it. Lower masculine energy overcoming divine feminine energy. All right? Keep in mind here, my central thesis with everything that I write or produce. With every what, there is a connected why. We know what the final score of the Super Bowl was. We're going to talk about why it ended the way it did. And I'm going to, again, reveal the symbolism that is secretly or cleverly tucked into the color selection. Colors. We know that colors hold vibrations. We know that colors map to energies, masculine and feminine. Some of y'all already know where I'm going with this. Let me get another sip of water, take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to jump right in. You're watching Maddie's Rap with author Matt D. Talford. All right, family, we're back. And without further ado, I'm going to jump into this material, all right? Super Bowl 57. Super Bowl 57. We're going to reveal the symbolism in Super Bowl 57. Now, I want you to understand that this is a critical review of a production. Critical review. I'll take you back to my college days, freshman English. Freshman English in my college days, one of the classes I took was critical literature review or something to that nature. I don't remember what it's called now. But in that class, basically what we did was we would read an assigned piece of literature, and then your assignment was to write a critical essay on that piece of literature. What did you see? Critique it. What did that piece of literature mean to you? What was the author trying to convey in that piece of literature? What jumped off the pages at you? I want to know. Write it up. All right? I won't get into why I enjoyed that, why I loved and hated that class at the same time. I loved the work. I loved the assignment. I loved the subject matter. The professor, he wanted you to see it the way he saw it, and that was a problem for me. But I got some strong advice from a very positive feminine in my life that said to me, Matt, just give the instructor what he wants, because that's not a hill worth dying on. Don't get an F when you're a brilliant writer just because you wanted to prove the point that you saw something different than he did, or that, and he's trying to tell you saw it wrong when there's no wrong. It's just two different perspectives. Anyway, I ended up taking that advice. That was a bitter pill to swallow, but I took that advice and I got the A that I was due. Anyway, talking about lower masculine energy, right? That was all ego. No, you don't see it that way, Matt. You got to do it this way. I ain't gonna flip the bird because my mom might be watching. So, mommy, I do flip the bird, okay? But I'm not gonna do it on the screen here right now. So I want to reveal the symbolism in this video of Super Bowl 57 and what I saw, kind of within the same, I don't know, along the same lines of what I would do in that critical essay class that I took back in college. So, the symbolism that we saw in Super Bowl 57. What are some of the symbolisms that we saw? One, we saw colors. Colors are symbols. Colors hold vibrations. The colors that we saw in Super Bowl 57 were red, we saw green, and we saw white. Okay? I'm going to break those down. Now, I think the overall message or symbolism being conveyed by those that put on that production was lower masculine energy overcoming higher feminine energy. That's a powerful statement, but the symbolism is there, and I think the symbolism supports it. Lower masculine energy overcoming higher feminine energy. Higher feminine energy succumbing to lower masculine energy. I'm going to show you how that shows up with regards to the color selection. I'm also going to show you something interesting about the halftime show. Let's deal with the colors. Again, red, white, and green. Where did we see red? the Kansas City Chiefs, but we also saw red in the attire of the pregame entertainment and the halftime entertainment. All right? And there's a little pattern there that I found interesting too, because you had two beautiful soul sisters that were slated to be the entertainment, and both of them were donned in red. Now, I don't have a problem with red. I definitely don't have a problem with women in red because I love red. I love women in red. Depending on who it is, some people's skin tone don't work as well with red as others, but I don't have a problem with the color red. Red symbolizes power. It symbolizes strength. So I don't have a problem with it. Red also maps to chakra number 1, which is the root chakra. Okay. Now, Cheryl Lee Ralph did the Lift Every Voice and Sing in the pregame show. Okay. Right before before they did the national anthem, they had the Lift Every Voice and Sing, which is also dubbed the Black National Anthem. Okay. I do double air quotes with black. Y'all want to know why I do that? Check out my video, What Can Simple Bags of Flour Teach Us About Race? I don't like the term black as applied to people. Okay, I don't like it. I haven't liked it for a long time, and I don't like it. So y'all go check out that video. Now, anyway, so you have this beautiful sister donned in red singing the Black National Anthem, or Lift Every Voice and Sing. Now, some of y'all might say, okay, well that's because it's Black History Month. I'm cool with that. I get that. Okay, whatever. Now, but you see the color white there in that same piece of the production. Her background singers are wearing white. Now, before y'all come out and say, okay, well, it's Valentine's Day weekend or whatever, I understand that, but that had nothing to do with Valentine's Day, in my opinion. I'm talking about the symbolism I saw. That, to me, was not symbolic of Valentine's Day weekend. Some may see it that way, but what I saw is, I just spoke on it. Number 1, red represents masculine energy. White, we're talking about spiritual warfare. Y'all see the attire. White symbolizes surrender. And y'all want to put these shades on because getting a little. It was a late night and an early morning, and my eyes are getting a little irritated by the light. So I'm going to put my shades on here to help filter out the light. Now, white, in terms of combat, symbolizes surrender. You want to surrender, you want your army to surrender, you come up, you wave the white flag. You in a boxing ring, and your fighter you're a corner man in the boxing ring, a trainer, your fighter's taking too much punishment, what do? You throw a white flag or a white towel into the ring. White symbolizes surrender. So the symbolism here is, remember, I told you the overall thesis is feminine energy succumbing to masculine energy. We're in the midst of spiritual warfare where the feminine energy in the earth is rising, but the lower / dark, if you will, masculine energy does not want to give up its seat of power. And it's trying to hold on to it by suppressing feminine energy. I'm going to tell you in a minute the significance of the feminine energy and why it's rising, okay? Let's get back to the Super Bowl. So you got Cheryl Lee Ralph dressed in red with background singers that are dressed in white. Let's move on to the next example of symbolism with regards to the entertainment. Rihanna, halftime show. Rihanna is wearing red. She's singing and dancing. Her background singers are wearing, not background singers, her dancers are wearing white. She's surrounded by a sea of white and she's wearing red. All right? There are scenes where parts of the dance where they're dancing around her, other parts where they're down beneath her. They're beneath her on the ground and she's standing above them. Now, y'all might say that's part of the choreography or whatever. I get that. Of course it's part of the choreography or they wouldn't have done it. But again, white in this context, based on the symbolism that I saw, represents surrender. So again, surrendering to this masculine energy. Now, don't miss the overall theme, because the overall theme is green versus red. Green is the color of the heart chakra. Red is the color of the root chakra. Green is feminine. Red, masculine, with regards to the energy zones. Everything is energy. The earth is energy. You and I are energy. The sound you're hearing coming out of your whatever device you're watching this video on is energy. Everything is energy. So the color green represents heart chakra energy, which is feminine energy. The color red represents root chakra energy, which is masculine energy. The overall theme, Eagles green versus Chiefs red. Feminine energy versus masculine energy. Okay? Now, back to Rihanna. Another interesting thing I noticed in that halftime show was the presentation of the lower, getting down into the Netherlands now, okay? And not the country. The nether regions, okay? All right? The sex that was in that halftime show. What do you mean, Matt? There's a scene where Rihanna grabs her butt cheek and pulls it across. You can watch the video. I'll put the link in the description box below to the Apple Music halftime show. They got it out there for you to watch. You can watch it on YouTube if you missed it in the game. There's a part in there, probably about a third of the way through it, where she's singing. I forget what song was playing at the time, but then she turns around, and I'm not going to do it on camera. You can see it. But she grabs her cheek and pulls it apart. Now, I'm gonna tell you that has a very powerful visual effect. Because first of all, red is a lower chakra. It is a masculine energy. It is a powerful masculine energy. It is the root chakra, but it's also the area. Now I know people say, well, the sacral chakra is where it controls the sex organs or whatever. But again, that lowest chakra zone, the root, the foundation, is masculine energy. All right. It is the color red. Now, everybody's dressed in red. She's grabbing her cheek. She's pulling it apart. And then shortly after that, she's touching the little man in the boat, okay? I'm talking in code because I don't, this video isn't for the kiddies. I don't know who's watching, but if he or she that has an ear to hear, let them hear. So right after she grabs, and she's like, which was very inviting. I'm looking at that like, first of all, Rihanna, fine, all right? Secondly, that motion had me feeling some type of way. I was like, oh, snap. What is she saying here? Okay? And then right after that, she turns around and, she's touching the man in the boat. But here's the other piece of symbolism. She's pregnant. She's surrounded by a sea of white. All of these dancers are wearing these hoodies, and they're doing these different dances with their head and with their arms and everything. And it, to me, almost looks like the motility of sperm. You got all this white, they're dancing, it looks like the motility of sperm, and then you got a pregnant female egg in the midst of this sea of white. Symbolism. Now, from an artistic standpoint, I will admit that is brilliant. That is brilliant from an artistic standpoint. But what energy are you trying to put out? Red. Got this red with white, surrender to masculine energy. Now, let me map that to the game, right? Because in the first half of the game, the feminine color is up. The Eagles are up. They're up comfortably. They're playing well. They're going down. They look like they can't be stopped. And if it keeps going like this, it's going to be a runaway, which, in my opinion, it should have been. I'm going to come back to that at the end of the game and show you how these powerful. A lot of, again, I did a video, y'all, talking about how to defuse sorcery. The first key to defusing sorcery is identifying it. All right, is identifying it. But I'll put a link in the description box so you guys can check that out later. But feminine energy can deflect and repel sorcery. Because feminine energy is spiritual. But dark feminine energy is also spiritual. And it can serve a different purpose. All right? It can serve a different purpose. We'll talk about that. Let me turn this Wi-Fi off so I'm not getting any notifications here. Okay, there we go. Now, so anyway, I talked about that. That was just an aside, but that was something I noticed. It looked like a sea of individual sperm dancing around an egg. And it just so happens that she's pregnant. Who knew she was pregnant? I saw the baby bump, and I was just like, she looks like she's expecting. And then you see all of the stories online and in social media and such after the Super Bowl is over with. But second half paradox, the Eagles, green, the heart, feminine energy, divine feminine energy comes out, and now all of a sudden they can't play football. and the red is winning. And then what happens? The red wins the game by one score. The red wins the game by one score. So we talked about the white symbolizing surrender to the red. And what happened? The green, which is the feminine energy, succumbed to the masculine energy. We know that the feminine energy in the earth is rising. It is rising. Go check out my video. Was the rise of the divine feminine prophesied? It was. I'll show it to you in that video. I'll show you in scripture where that was prophesied. For those that think that the Bible is a religious book, when I tell you all the time, it's not a religious book. It's a spiritual book. Okay? It is spiritual concepts and it's energy. All right? So go check that video out. I'll put a link in the description box. But white, red. Why did they not use green? Well, because it was Valentine's Day weekend. Okay, fine. I'm not going to argue with those of you who... The Super Bowl's on Valentine's... The Super Bowl's in February every year. It's in February every year, okay? Well, because... don't say because of the Chiefs. Because the Eagles are in there too. Why couldn't it be green? Why couldn't it be half red, half green? White, surrender, red, masculine energy. What energy is rising in the earth right now? Feminine energy. What is the love frequency? That is feminine energy. That is a product of the heart chakra. That's green. What do we see in the earth right now? War, fighting, strife everywhere. What is the media love propagating? Stories of strife. They don't show stories of love. They show the opposite. They don't show stories of love. They show the opposite. Or they'll show you stories of perverted love. I'm going to leave that right there. He who has an ear to hear, let him hear. Things that are understood need not be explained. Perverted love, I'm going to leave that alone. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay? So, when you talk about, now people like to talk about, the games are fixed or whatever, sports is fixed. It's a production. It's a show. Shows are planned. So for those of you that think that these outcomes are random somehow, maybe once upon a time they were. Maybe once upon a time it was true sport. You want to see random outcomes? Go to a high school game. Go to games that aren't televised on a national or international stage. Then you can see some real competition. All right. Go play a sports video game, which I enjoy doing sometimes in my spare time. Go play a sports video game. It's a production. I've been in theater. I know what it looks like. I've done musical theater. I know what a production looks like. But to my point, back to Rihanna, for those of you that want to say, I know I said what I saw with Rihanna in that halftime show. Let me explain something to you. Seldom does the artist see the production. They're just in it. So someone has a vision for what that production is supposed to look like. The artist is a part of that vision. The artist isn't always privy to the vision. They're just a part of it. What do you mean, Matt? Well, when I was on stage doing musical theater and doing community chorus back some 20 years ago, they would give us the sheet music. They would give us the program. This is the order that these songs are going to be sang in Act 1, Act 2. These are the choreography that go with these particular songs. If you're a part of that staging, in one production, I was the Tin Man. In a reproduction of a stage production of The Wizard of Oz, I played the Tin Man. So they give me the motions. Here's where you're going to move. You're going to step. Here's your costume. This is what you're going to wear. I'm just the artist. All I do is sing and do the choreography that they give me. I don't get to pick the costume I put on. I don't get to pick the colors, any of that. I'm just, hey, show up here. Here's your music. This is what you're going to sing. And these are the dance moves you're going to do. So with that being said, I'm here to tell you, some of y'all love to say that this artist or that artist is a part of some whatever. That's not always the case. And I don't think that's the case here with Rihanna. I think that they just said, hey, Rihanna was not responsible for that staging, if you ask me. She was not responsible for any of that staging. Now, was the motion that she did with her hands, was that choreographed? I don't know. It could have been, but it also could have been a product of the music. Low frequency music, that low bass, and then certain lyrics that are in, it make you dance, make you move a certain way. I've seen it. It'll make you dance and move in a certain way. So I just wanted to throw that out there for those of you who want to say, well, Rihanna's a part of it. No, she may not be. It's like, in fact, I doubt she is. Now, the thing was she grabbed the makeup compact and put the makeup on her face. That was all sales right there. I think that was brilliant. But let's get back to the symbolism here. All right, we're talking about red versus green. Let's talk about the path too, because I talked about the paradox. The first half, Philly looked like Philly. The second half, Philly looked like the Giants. Philly looked like the Cowboys the second half. No offense to you if you're a Giants fan or a Cowboys fan. Listen, even though I don't watch football like I used to, I'm a lifelong New York Giants fan. All right? So no shade to my fellow Giants fans, whatever. And if you Dallas, you know y'all ain't won nothing since the 90s. But no shade, Dallas fans, whatever. All right. But my point is, the Eagles went from looking stellar to real regular in just the space of the halftime show being performed. Some might say that was an energetic ritual that went out and sapped the whatever strength Philly had left in them, because you had surrender to the masculine energy. White is surrender, red is masculine energy. The Chiefs wore red. The whole stadium was darn near red. So, we know what happened. They end up winning by a field goal. They end up winning by one score. That was the Chiefs' whole path through the playoffs. Was the Jacksonville game in the which was their first opponent, the quarterfinal, if you will? Was the Jacksonville game winnable by the Jaguars? Absolutely. But mistakes cost them. Errors cost them. I'm going to tie that in at the end when I tell you why all of this is so important, why I'm even doing this video. Mistakes cost the Jaguars. Now, how is this significant? Because the Jaguars wear a shade of green. This is spiritual warfare. So here you had red matched up against green. Is it coincidental? Oh, Matt, well, the Jaguars they just happened to be in that position where they were going to play them. They beat the Rams. I don't think that was insignificant. Why? Because the Rams wear a color blue that maps to the throat chakra. The Rams colors are blue and yellow. Those are masculine energy zone colors. Yellow is the third chakra. That's the solar plexus. Blue is the fifth chakra. That's the throat. So the Rams wore blue and green. If they win that game against the Rams wore blue and yellow. If they win that game, I'm giving you symbolism now. This is symbolism. Just stay with me. If the Rams win that game, then you got masculine energy that's going to be competing with masculine energy in the second round. That's not what's happening in the spiritual warfare that's going on right now. It is masculine energy warring against feminine energy. As it was in the beginning, so it is in the end. This is why Spirit has had me doing these Adam and Eve videos. And I'm going to talk about Adam and Eve in this one. So they beat the Rams. The Jaguars beat the Rams. Hey, feminine energy, barely. They came back and won 31-30. They beat the Rams. Next up, the Jaguars, who are playing some darn good football, go up against the Chiefs. The Jaguars could have won that game. This is now green. The Jaguars wear a shade of green, feminine energy, playing against red, masculine energy. The Jaguars could have won that game. But mistakes down the stretch, stupid boneheaded mistakes. Like when you look at the mistakes they made down the stretch, you're like, what were you thinking? What did you do? What were you doing? It cost them, and they lose by one score to the Kansas City Chiefs. So green loses to red in round 2 of the playoffs. Round 3 of the playoffs, what happens? You got the Bengals, orange, who just let me take this. Let me go down the side here. let me take a side trip for a minute. You had the Bengals, whose colors are orange and black, primary color is orange, competing against the Baltimore Ravens. Primary color is purple. Okay, what is purple? Purple, indigo is close. They're close enough because indigo is a shade of purple. Indigo is made by the mixture of red and blue. Purple is made by the mixture or the combination of red and blue. So we'll just call it purple, all right? Or indigo, it doesn't matter. The 6th chakra, the third eye chakra, is the feminine energy. That is indigo, which is a shade of purple, okay? That's indigo. That was 6th chakra color fighting against 2nd chakra color. The Bengals won. So what did you see here, symbolism-wise? Women fighting against women. Feminine energy combating feminine energy. One of them gets knocked off. Now, where does that leave? That leaves, again, red, this time in the AFC Championship game against orange. Masculine, red, orange, feminine. Masculine, root chakra, orange, sacral chakra. Masculine, chakra number 1, feminine, chakra number 2. What happened in that game? A boneheaded mistake down the stretch that produced a penalty that put Kansas City in position to win the game when it looked like it could go either way at that point. What happens? A boneheaded error cost the Bengals, orange, to lose the game to red by one score. By one score. A field goal. A field goal. So now fast forward to the championship game. Before I get there, let's go on the other side. Let's look at Philly. Philly's green. Philly destroys everybody they play against. They destroy them. It's not even close. All right? This is feminine energy playing against masculine energy. Green versus blue in Philly's first matchup, the Giants. Green versus blue and red. Those are two masculine energy zones. Blue and red. Green destroys them. Not even close. NFC Championship game. Against the, what did you have? You had Philly playing against the 49ers. You had Philly playing against 49ers. Should have been a good game, but you had green versus red. Philly blows them out. Why? Because if you get to the Super Bowl, you got red versus red. A house divided against itself cannot stand. These are spiritual and energetic concepts. Masculine energy versus masculine energy in the Super Bowl game. This is a very powerful spiritual year because it's a 7-year. It's a very powerful year. This year, spirituality is super high. This year, more so than last year or the year before it. More so than the last 5 years. We're at the height of spiritual warfare right now. It's going to keep getting hot this year, y'all. Spiritual warfare-wise and temperature-wise. That's a story for another day. So, these 49ers, they play against the Eagles and get crushed. Now, some of y'all are going to blame it on the injuries and all of that stuff. Whatever happened, happened. The final score is Philly destroys the 49ers. You're heading into the Super Bowl. When you look at these two matchups, Kansas City struggling, winning by one score to get to the Super Bowl, Philly destroying everybody, these games shouldn't have even been close. They should not have even been close. They should not have even been close. And what happens? Or this game, rather, should not have even been close. What happens? It ends up being close. It ends up being close. Philly does not even look like the same team. They look real regular. Philly looked unbeatable heading into the Super Bowl. Philly has looked unbeatable all year. They've looked practically unbeatable all year. All year long. Philly's been dominating, destroying. Now you got green energy versus red energy. Surrender. In the pregame, red and white. Surrender, white, surrender, red, masculine energy. Halftime show. White, surrender, red, masculine energy. What happens the second half? The feminine energy succumbs to the masculine energy. And the way it happens, again, is another boneheaded mistake down the stretch that gave the Chiefs the first down. Gave them a first down way down in territory. Now they can milk the clock off and kick a field goal and win, which is exactly what happens. Now, if that penalty doesn't happen, do they kick a field goal or they try a field goal? Yes, because they need to, at that point, try to go up by a score. The game's 35-all at that point. If that penalty does not happen, now you got to attempt a field goal, which is 50-50. You may get the field goal, you may not. You don't get the field goal, it's looking like a wrap for you. Okay, maybe, I don't know. But it's 35-all at that point. But even if you hit that field goal prior to that penalty and that clock being drained or run down by the Chiefs, then the Eagles get the ball back with enough time to go down and either tie the game with a field goal or win it with a touchdown. But another boneheaded mistake cost them. And some say that was a questionable. Some say that was a questionable penalty. Some say that was a questionable defensive holding. I think he could have thrown the flag or left it alone. It's very subjective. It was very subjective. But anyway, Marla's story. Green succumbs to red. Green represents feminine energy. Red represents masculine energy. Symbolism. Were they trying to put out a narrative that they hope will go into the universe and manifest something that is not going to? Why are you saying all of this, Matt? We know that this spiritual war here has been a clash of energies. The feminine energy in the earth is rising. The masculine energy, dark masculine energy, which controls the earth right now, wants to continue holding on to the earth. It wants to continue enslaving humanity. But God said not so. God said not so. So that whole Super Bowl was, to me, a return to the garden. I'm gonna show you how that happens. I'm gonna show you how we do that. I'm gonna show you how I got to that, and then I'm gonna get off of here because it's been a. So, family, before I wrap this video up, I mentioned that I would review the Adam and Eve story and show you how what is happening right now in these end times that we are living in is an attempt to reset the story here on the earth by replaying the same thing that was allowed to work in the Garden of Eden. Before I do that, I want you to understand that this is an ancient war. This war between good and evil, if you will. This war between light and darkness, if you will, occurred prior or was going on prior to the creation of the earth. It's not new. It's not new. We're all eternal beings, and we're not living to get to eternity. We are already a part of eternity. We're just playing a role here. That's it. That's it. So, how does the Adam and Eve story apply? If you have not seen it, I want you to click the links in the description box below. You can stop the video now and just go right into my Adam and Eve videos that I've done already. I've done 2 of them. They stack on each other. I said this a year ago. All my videos stack on top of each other. They're not necessarily standalone videos, although they are standalone. When you watch a video that is newly published, you are very likely to hear a theme that was discussed in an earlier video. That's what I mean when I say my videos stack. But anyway, let me not get off into the weeds. This is an ancient struggle between light and dark. Now, as far as the Adam and Eve story goes, watch the second Adam and Eve video I did expressly for this, because in it is the theme that the stories were flipped. Okay, the narrative that we see in the scripture is actually representative of a flip. Adam, if you use the Paleo Hebrew characters, is Adamah, which means strong portal or gateway to water, aka life. Every person born into this realm is born in a sack of water. That sack of water gives you life until you exit it, and then you are in life. You're in this realm. So that portal is the mother. So I believe that Adamah represented the feminine energy, and Eve, aka Abba, watch the video, represents masculine energy. We know that Abba means father in Hebrew. So I believe the story's flipped. Again, if you want the details on it, go and watch the video. The link is in the description box. So with that understood, it is written, it is not good for man to be alone. We know the scriptures are heavily patriarchal, but I'm just going to go with the letter of the script for the benefit of those of you that aren't perhaps not awakened enough to understand these spiritual concepts and energetic concepts. It is not good for Adamah to be alone. Let's create a helpmate for Adamah. Let's create a helpmeet for strong gateway to life, strong portal to life. Why was it not good for Adamah to be alone? If we know that the creation took place subsequent to the expulsion of these dark angelic beings from the heavenly realms, then perhaps Adamah, which was a chosen feminine energy, because again, in chapter 1, it says in the beginning, he created them male and female. But we also know that the Most High always has his picks. These are mine. Yeah, I created a whole world full of people, animals, etc. But this right here, this special group, this is mine. Like a baker baking something for a party. That baker, if he was not hired, if the baker is the host, that baker has the right, reserves the right to set aside a special creation just for him and his, all right? Hey, I'm going to put it out for everybody. Everybody's going to eat. But this right here, this is mine, all right? So the Most High always has his picks. That is the chosen ones, okay? That is the chosen ones. Hey, you know what? I'm choosing you. I'm electing you. You are mine. I'm setting you apart from everybody else. You're special to me, all right? So it is not good for this chosen feminine energy to be alone. Why? Because feminine energy is spiritual, but this particular feminine energy was operating in the physical or natural realm. Physical energy is masculine. Spiritual energy is feminine. Okay? So, Adamah, powerful gateway or portal to life, was alone in the garden. Didn't say it was the only person on the earth. Said was alone in the garden. It's not good for Adamah to be alone. Let us create for Adamah a helper. Why did Adamah need a helper in the garden? If Adamah was feminine in a female form, Adamah needed masculine help for one of two reasons. Or if not both. You need masculine energy or a masculine for physical tasks. You also need masculine for physical protection. For physical protection. What is the yin yang? What do they give each other? What is the 360? The masculine energy provides physical protection and assistance for the feminine energy. The feminine energy provides spiritual protection and assistance for the masculine energy. So now we know that divine feminine energy is all-knowing and that divine masculine energy is all-powerful. Well, what the Most High did was he created a unit. Why did he need a unit there? Well, because perhaps the Most High in his wisdom, or her wisdom, however y'all want to do it, I'm not getting into that. Perhaps the creator, perhaps divine source, in its wisdom, understood that these dark beings that got expelled would try to find their way into the garden to disrupt the chosen, the elect, the set apart, the special ones that the Most High set aside for itself. Okay? Okay? So, it's not good for Adamah to be alone. These dark energies are now in physical form. Why? Because they're in the physical realm. So, if a physical masculine energy encounters a physical feminine energy, we know that masculine energy in a male body is far more powerful than feminine energy. So, hey, let's not leave Adamah alone here because there's some stuff going on around Adamah. Let's provide a help. Let's provide a protector. All right? Boom. Here comes Abba. The physical embodiment of divine masculine energy. Divine masculine energy in its highest form is all powerful. It cannot be defeated. It cannot be overcome. Y'all go watch my Israelite 333 Awakening video. I talked about how Jacob wrestling the angel, or Jacob physically wrestling this divine being, was a trial. Does he have the chops to be able to be the progenitor of this powerful nation? Does he have the chops to be the progenitor of this physically powerful nation? Let's give him a test. Let's send a divine masculine being of light here in a physical form to wrestle and vie against him. If Jacob fails, I got to go back to the drawing board. If Jacob overcomes or at least stalemates this divine being, then he's ready. He can be the progenitor of this nation of powerful divine masculine energy that I want to come through him. Y'all go check that out. That's Israelite 333 Awakening. All right. So now that we've got this power unit here, you're not going to get nothing past this unit because that divine feminine energy is all knowing and it knows what's coming. Hey, something's coming over here. Boom. I think it's masculine energy. They might try to do something. Oh, babe, I got them. Boom. I got that divine source, masculine power in this embodiment. Nobody can overcome me. I got Samson's strength. All right. Oh, you trying to mess with her? What? Boom. Hey, you know what? I think the dark energy is gonna send a dark feminine to come at this divine masculine. Hey, no, hon. Nah. He don't need no help, babe. Nah, he good. He good right over here. Nah, he don't need you to come with him. Why? Because that divine masculine energy does not have the spiritual chops and the intuition that divine feminine energy has. So you got 360 degrees of protection and prosperity. He cannot be overtaken physically, so they cannot be overtaken physically. She cannot be overtaken spiritually or intuitively, so therefore they cannot be overtaken spiritually or intuitively. But what happened? There was a division. Divide and conquer. So what happened then was Abba was encountered by dark feminine energy. What happens? This is why you got to watch this low vibrational stuff and watch what you're taking in. Red and black. Red mixed with something sensual is an attack on masculine energy. Red mixed with something feminine is an attack on masculine energy. Look at that silhouette challenge that they were doing a few years back, where there was lay your head on my shoulder, and they dropped the bass down on the shoulder part. Lay your head on my boom, and you see this silhouette of this sexy feminine energy doing this serpent type move or something in a doorway, which is a portal. So all you see is this black silhouette against this red light. That was an attack on masculine energy. You know how I knew about that? Dudes were sending it to me. But you know what? It didn't feel right spiritually. So I was like, you know what? Nah, man, y'all can miss me with that. Y'all can miss me with that. I love looking at a beautiful woman, but that right there, y'all can miss me with that. There's something dark about that. That boom, that bass hitting, going that low frequency, and then you got red too. What did you have at the Grammys? I didn't watch them, but I heard everybody talking about it, and I saw screenshots online. What did you have at the Grammys? Red. Dark energy. Red. I don't demonize red. Red is high vibrational too because it represents power and strength. But when it's mixed with dark feminine energy, it is an attack on masculine energy. That's what happened to Abba in the garden. Go watch the video. So we got the same thing here in the Super Bowl. Surrender to this masculine energy, but you put a female form in that red. See what's happening? You put a female form in that red. What does that do? That attacks the masculines. That don't do nothing to the feminines. That don't do nothing to them. They like, oh, girl, she wore that. Oh, girl, hey, let's go find this Fenty makeup that she put on during the They wasn't fazed by that other stuff. Oh no, she looked good. Leave her alone, girl. They weren't fazed like the men were. So what happens is there's an attack on that masculine energy. But what an attack on masculine energy, divine, sacred masculine energy is, it's really an attack on feminine energy. Because if you can get that masculine energy to make a mistake, then he can then be cut off from this feminine energy who now has no physical protection in a physical realm. So then that divine feminine energy in a female form can then be dominated by dark or lower masculine energy that is unrighteous. What have we had in the world for the last how many years? And a lot of it is pushed by religion. You don't see the same type of division between men and women in the spiritual community. There's a mutual respect in the spiritual community. But in the religious community, the woman is beneath the man. Did God intend it to be that way? Perhaps the real message is religion is not spirituality, because spirituality is feminine energy. Oh, now the rubber's meeting the road. Now it's meeting the road. This is a spiritual warfare, y'all. I told y'all about this. This is spiritual war. So I don't want to spend any more time on that. You can go back and watch that Adam and Eve video. But the moral of the story is, how do we survive this now, Matt? Matt, you said all of this. Okay, it's real simple. If you're a man, recognize that that female is your partner. Treat them with respect. Treat them as an equal. Equal but opposite. You ain't there to dominate, but use your masculine energy where it applies. And then be willing to yield in areas that are spiritual, because that's where that feminine energy is going to take over. A man has, listen, men and women both have 3 masculine and 3 feminine major chakras. But the masculine chakras are more powerful in the male form. The feminine chakras are more powerful in the female form. So we got to get back to partnership. Men, stop looking at women as being beneath you and look at them as your partner. Magic Johnson was not beneath Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Magic had a role to play. Magic set Kareem up. When he set Kareem up, the team won. When Kareem grabbed that rebound, he threw it out to Magic, so Magic could run the break. It's synergy. It is synergy. Understand your role. Understand your role. In that example, Magic could represent the feminine energy because he's got the vision with regards to and the intuition on how this play is developing or how this play should develop. This is why Magic could go this way, no look, throw that ball over there. He knew what the person was going to be. Intuition. He knew. He could go over here, do something, flip an alley-oop over his back. All right? So he could represent the feminine energy. Kareem, that's the masculine energy. Give me that. Bam! Throw it down. Well, up block. Oh, you going up for a shot? Get that out of here. Get that out of here. Oop, I got the rebound. Magic. Whoop. Magic down the court, running the break. Boom, layup. Magic layup. Synergy, understanding roles. They're teammates. You are teammates with whatever significant women are in your life, fellas. You're teammates. Ladies, how do we survive here? First and foremost, y'all got to stop fighting each other. Y'all got to stop fighting each other. Because when you fight each other, you weaken the energy. You weaken your unit. You weaken your unit. When you're fighting each other, when you're competing against each other, you basically are y'all so focused on competing with each other that you leaving these masculine energies that need that insight, that need that spiritual protection. You're leaving them to fall or succumb to these lower dark feminine energies. And the unit breaks down. So guess what happens when your masculine breaks down? You get cast from the garden and you got to have a hard time. You get cast from the garden and you got to have a hard time. This is coming back around because in the beginning, the division, the separation of the masculine energy from the feminine energy caused the masculine energy to succumb to temptation. Y'all watch that video. Don't come in here and try to reprogram me to make me think that who succumbed to the temptation was the all-knowing energy. No. It was that all-powerful energy that didn't know and was cut off from his knowledge partner. I don't know how they got cut. I don't know how they got separated. I don't know. I do not know how they got separated. But the scripture says a man or sin is conceived when a man is drawn away from by his own lust. Did something distract that feminine energy so that feminine energy, she wasn't watching that masculine energy? Did something distract her from that? Perhaps. That very well could be the case. That very well could be the case. See, that's how it happens. That feminine energy gets distracted. The mothers out there, where my mothers out there? When do your children cut up the most? When you're on the phone. Why? Because you're distracted and you can't see what they're doing. I know it because we used to do it to my mother. Me and my brothers. Now we knew better when she was like aware. But when that phone rang, that was our cue. Oh, she's distracted. She's distracted by that conversation. Let's go over here and do whatever we're going to do that she would tell us not to do if she was watching us. We running outside. We doing all kind of stuff. And even if she does see, y'all come back in here, whatever, she's too distracted by that phone call. But what you hoped you didn't hear was, these boys in here running amok. Let me hang this phone up. I'll get with you later. Uh-oh, now you got to straighten up. So, ladies, you cannot allow yourselves to be distracted to where your intuition is clouded. Whatever is distracting you, remove the distraction, because you have a job to do spiritually. You're the intuition for the unit. You're the intuition for the unit. The only thing that can break that unit down is when your strength, your physical strength, is drawn away. Is drawn away by dark feminine energy. And I'm not going to talk about how monogamy helped to force monogamy that was pushed by the church establishment, all right? Forced monogamy that was pushed by the church establishment that is not biblical. I ain't going to talk about how that helped to break this unit down further. I ain't going to talk about that. All right? Forced monogamy. There's nothing wrong with monogamy. It's something wrong with it when it's forced and somebody tells you you have to do that, especially when it's not biblical. But they try to spin it like it is. Fellas, think about what happened when you were younger. Back in the days before there was all these video game and movie distractions and all 24-hour entertainment. When you entertained yourself. Okay, you go down there and play with your cousins. If I find out something happened, I'm going to tear your butt up. Guess what? You left the watch of one feminine and you went into the watch of another. Now your aunt watching you. Now your grandmother watching you. You ain't just going to do whatever you want to do. But guess what? When it's just one watching you, it's easier to distract. Y'all call that whatever y'all want. I know some of y'all thinking right now, oh, he just whatever. Open your mind up. Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's religion that told you. That ain't even, no, first of all, forced monogamy ain't biblical. Secondly, it's only, what? I think that started in the 14th.
It's time for a history lesson on marriage. In the 13th century, the Catholic Church recognized marriage and made it a sacrament. By the 16th century, the Catholic Church had instituted monogamous marriage because if a rich man died with many wives, the church got less. Marriage was then about an alliance between family for economic reasons, and it wasn't until the 18th century that marriage actually became about love. Marriage law today follows property guidelines. When a man gives a woman an engagement ring, that is in exchange for the compensation of her time leading up to the wedding. If she breaks the engagement, she's to give that down payment in the form of a ring back to the man. If he breaks it, she keeps it as compensation for her valuable reproductive years. Traditionally, the bride's family pays for the wedding as the last great expense before they are alleviated of the financial burden of having another woman in the family. This is also why dowries were given. After the ceremony, the wife takes the man's name as a form of titling to show his ownership. She is now his property, and so are the children.
There's a reason for that. Spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare. Everything is about divide and conquer. Everything is about divide and conquer. What's that scripture about binding up the strong man? I got to find that. I got to find that scripture. But you can't defeat a strong man. You can't spoil his house unless you can first bind him up. When you bind him, then you can spoil his goods. All right, you can come into his house, spoil his goods. His goods is everything that was assigned to him to protect and watch over physically. That's his goods. That's why our communities and homes are so busted up right now, because the strong man has been bound up. The strong man has been bound up because he's been drawn away and separated from his spiritual protection. The spiritual protection is so distracted that they're not using the fullness and not operating in the fullness of their gifts. Y'all, I'm getting ready to wrap this video up. I'm an award-winning author. Written 3 books, 2 of them award-winning. From Fear to Faith, A Survivor Story. A must-read tale of how having the proper mindset in any situation can help you to overcome the absolute worst of circumstances. Or having the proper mindset can help you to achieve what someone else said is impossible. It's only impossible if you believe so. If you believe it's possible, then you're going to do it. You're going to do it and you're going to overcome. Doesn't matter how bleak it looks. That's from Fear to Faith, A Survivor Story. You can click the links in the description box and go and read a synopsis of the story. I don't want to take up much more time than that. Stuck in an Elevator, a tale of passion and self-discovery that takes place high above the Los Angeles skyline. All right? What can you learn? What could you learn if you were a fly on the wall, locked in an elevator with 2 polar opposites that begin to discover things about the other and things about themselves? That's Stuck in an Elevator. All right, family. If you like this video, do me a huge favor and give it a thumbs up. I wish there were 2 thumbs up buttons, and then you could give it 2 thumbs up. All right. And if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell up to all so you'll be notified when I drop new content. Last but not least, tell somebody you love them and mean it. We got to be operating in this love frequency, y'all. We got to be operating in this love frequency. The reason why I did this video is to show you, to illustrate that high vibrational energy is what is going to get you to the new earth, not low vibrational energy. Low vibrational energy is not going to make it. If you're low vibrational energy, you're going to be marked for deletion. When the Most High releases his wrath, you're going to be marked for deletion. So you got to get out of that low vibrational energy. You got to stay high vibrational. High vibrational is what's going to be running the new earth, the love frequency. If you're not operating in the love frequency, this could be it for you. This could be the reality you're stuck in. I don't know about you, but this reality right now, with what these people that are running this reality are doing, ain't nothing to be stuck in. All right, so get in that love frequency, y'all. Tell somebody you love them and mean it. How do you mean it? You have to show it. All right.